So imagine you're talking to my grandma who can't really hear. Slow down, like you're talking to her, okay?
And his tone and stuff, and then his facial
Kathy
expressions.
Hannawalt teaches junior humanities and senior English at Crossroads Academy. Kathy entered the profession at a time when state and national standards began to guide more and more of a teacher's curriculum. Yet within the standards her students must address, Kathy's finding ways for every student to connect to the community. Her story is one of a work in progress. She's taking the first steps toward integrating service learning into her curriculum. And Kathy's experiences hold lessons about both the possibilities and the practicalities of classroom community connections.
Okay, come on in, guys.
Our first stop, an expedition with Kathy's humanities class. For a unit on immigration, Kathy decided to bus her juniors across the state to Wenatchee. There, they toured a fruit processing plant and met a workforce made up largely of immigrants.
Well, this quarter in American Studies, we've been studying immigration, specifically looking at what immigration policy should be on one side and then also narrative writing on the other side. The essential questions for this unit are, what is the American dream? What responsibility does a government have to its citizens? I wanted my students going into this to be able to answer those questions from multiple perspectives and to see different sides, because there really are not right answers to those.
Kathy's curriculum integrates English and U.S. history. For one assignment, her class studied immigration and wrote a narrative through the eyes of someone who came through Ellis Island. But Kathy decided to take it further, so she approached the management of Stamilt Growers Incorporated. She wanted her students to interview immigrants to this country. Stamilt agreed to partner with Kathy. Immigrants from their workforce answered questions from teams of students.
Did you go to school, and if so, up to which grade?
Hasta 9, la secundaria.
She finished 9th grade.
The reason that I chose to do this partnership for immigration was because that's what we are going to be studying. And I said, this year I want to do one real big trip that's going to get us out of the school and get us talking to people outside of our school. I felt like the trip to Wenatchee and being able to actually interview a real immigrant would be a chance for students to see the immigrant experience from a different perspective.
Kathy's class interviewed immigrants and captured their stories of the American dream. It connected the students to a community outside of their classroom and outside of their daily experiences.
And for some of our students, this was the first time they had ever really spoken to someone about why they had come here. It was real life. They saw what these people were really going through. And I think for some of them, it dispelled a lot of the stereotypes about immigrants that they had had before.
He died.
He died
here?
Yeah, because they go to the river and he drowned.
The students came back excited about what they had just done. They came back with such a deeper understanding of immigration issues than ever, so they were able to use that as part of their decision-making about immigration policy.
When I came here, I was just kind of worried about how his relatives treat me, or you know, how the people surrounding me, how they're gonna treat me.
I was scared for my future. How will people treat me?
As a final step, students turned their interviews into narratives using the voices of immigrants. They published a book of the stories. Then, instead of presenting the book to each other, they went to a local coffee shop and shared their stories with the public.
But I didn't take the job.
I wanted them to know that their writing is going to have an audience. I think it's a service to the community in that they get a sneak peek as to what's going on inside of schools. I think sometimes the community has no idea what we're doing, and this gets them to see, wow, this is what they're doing. There's a sense of success when students do something that they're proud of, do something that no one thought they could do, and do it publicly.
At the end of the unit, Kathy's class reflected on what they had learned.
I just think that, like, we didn't need that many immigrants, but now it's like a totally different opinion.
And with first-year hindsight, Kathy learned too about the challenges of getting students out and bringing the community in.
Hey, me, we haven't heard from you yet. What would you tell? And I thought it'd be so easy. But it took a lot more time than I thought it would in terms of just the logistics, setting that up. But now that I've done it once, next year I know what to do. I give the students more time during the interview. I would make the students more in charge of planning the actual process. It was definitely worth all of the work. When we got back from Wenatchee, I realized that we had just done something pretty cool. We had interviewed real people, and I know that made an impact on our students. They will remember them.
Kathy is also taking early steps toward fostering community connections in her senior English class. For their senior projects, her students were challenged to identify a system they wanted to change the system, and make the change sustainable.
A lot of the senior projects I heard about last year as we were trying to create ours were things like go to a nursing home and volunteer for 10 hours, or go to a soup kitchen, do a report on homelessness in front of your class. And while those are great things, they don't really create a lasting impact. And so our house decided that we wanted to change a system so that the students would learn how to do that.
During the first year, the projects took aim at systems students know best, those within the community of their own school.
Christine Perez is trying to increase the nutritional value of food at school. Another young man, Ricky Porter, has realized that not many males are applying for the Achievers Scholarship. Hopefully, as we go further along with these, the projects will have even a larger scope, really moving into the community outside of Clover Park. This year we don't have a huge number of community members because we wanted to start small. As we build that network, as we realize how to communicate with community members, next year we'll have more and more mentors from outside.
All right, the project sounds like it's moving along. There's still some things that need to happen.
One of the senior projects I'm excited about is Marco Garcia's, and he decided that he wanted to work on trying to change the system of Latinos in schools and trying to get more Latinos to go to college. Out of that, he decided that he wanted to start a tutoring support club after school for Latino students.
Half of the Latino students in high school do not graduate, and so and only about 10% of them go to college. So I'm trying to change that. And I really feel really passionate about higher education for minority students.
Marco's project is aimed at changing the system within the school. But Marco proved an important link to the community outside the school. When he and his family moved from Mexico, they found support through Centro Latino in downtown Tacoma. Marco visits and volunteers at Centro several times a week, and he is mentored by youth education coordinator Roberto Lopez. Marco helped build a bridge from the school to a community partner. That bridge and a lasting support network are what he leaves to the future.
The best way for me to help my community was to create a club and give information to students that didn't have information about college or, about higher education.
It's an academic requirement, but I think beyond that, it's a personal goal for him to leave something at Clover Park.
And the students are leaving this school year knowing that something's different because of something they did, not just a temporary one-time service project, that they're actually changing things, and they'll be able to see that change 5 years from now.